This mixed media piece called Big Ol' Full Moon is a creative journey from the outside to the inside, which I decided to embark on during the COVID-19 pandemic. I figured, since I had a bit of time on my hands, I would put it to good use. I was classically trained as a painter from a young age, working mostly in oils. When I started my Bachelor of Fine Arts at Florida State University, I knew the technical skills for being a creator of artwork, like mixing paint, and I felt really confident. An acrylics class changed my perspective forever. We went on a field trip to the coast. It was my first plein air painting experience. A bit of a side note, plein air painting was popularized by the French Impressionists, and it's the practice of painting in the open air. The artist often tries to capture the ephemeral in nature, changing light, clouds, or water. I vividly recall the subject of my plein air painting, a close-up of an old sailboat in a marina. I was struck by the peeling paint on the hull. I wanted to capture the beauty of the sailboat and the oldness of the white paint peeling off. And that's when I pivoted from being a purist working with oils to experimenting with more media. As a child, I painted almost photographic realism. In college, I expanded to Impressionism. I moved from being a really tight painter to really loose in my brush strokes, and I painted really large abstracts on heavier canvas, feeling the paint and the canvas underneath. I created Big Ol' Full Moon using my 5-step intuitive painting process. I'll show you a few of those steps here. The journey began by writing words down the middle of the canvas, all words that I would use to describe me. I was pondering over who sees out, like at any given time. Who encounters and interprets my world? Which persona of me? And if none of these, then who or what? Kind of deep. That's what artists do, they think deeply. I entered into the painting without an image in mind, which is a fun creative exercise. I like to play with what I see. My work tends to be bold with a lot of passion and emotion, and that comes along with the process. Most of the time, I have no idea what I'm about to paint, but it's the journey into the uncertainty and an awakening of the heart. I use a method where I intuitively tear large pieces of black tissue paper and randomly glue them down to the canvas, making sure to wrap around 3 of the edges of the canvas. I add in color, still not knowing what the image will be. Then I look. I really stare into the piece to see what is there, sometimes turning the canvas. The tissue paper adds amazing texture to the underpainting and guides my eye to the composition. I began to see that this piece had a heaven and earth element to it. That's where I added the golden. I saw a horizon line and water elements and began to flesh those in. The bottom areas became perfect reflections in water, but of what? Then I started to see the vessel emerging. I really liked the abstract, translucent quality and how the composition was coming to life. At first, the vessel was moving quickly through the water, making a wake, sail blowing in the wind. After a couple of days on the easel, I saw the sail was actually a big moon, and the water was completely still, allowing the reflection to sing. I really enjoyed the dripping of blue paint coming down from the sky and into the water. I toyed with the concept of finding the man on the moon. However, he looked more like a scary moon. I spent a bit of time softening his edges and bringing the happy back in. Inner work can indeed be scary, especially to people looking into the painting. Keeping my viewer in mind, I added an inner glow to the moon. I've painted in the mountains, by a stream, in the middle of town, even in Manhattan. I think that people like to watch other people create. I believe that when I paint, and when I paint with others, there is a healing and transformation that happens. This transformation is one of empowerment. I've developed ways to share my passion for the creative process through one-on-one and group workshops and retreats. I love to paint in front of an audience, and I always find ways to make that happen. As for the title of the painting, this came about after I saw the beautiful moon emerge, and coincidentally I was also listening to one of my favorite songs called Big Ol' Full Moon, and the two just seemed to marry one another in the creation of the painting. As I was layering the colors in the moon, it was quite interesting to see that as I added the darks in, of course they were too dark, but as I started to add the glazes on top of golden, you could still see the darkness peeking through the light. And now when you look at the painting, it has a glow, and the moon simply glows as an orb in the sky. Thank you for watching the creation of Big Ol' Full Moon. You can find more of my work at carolinecarpartist.com. Hope you enjoyed it.